What's going on, Debt Free Mafia? Hey, welcome to today's video. I wanted to talk about, when is the best time to buy a house? What other questions you might have when it comes to a house? I have a list of questions that I want to cover with my really good friend, Dale Lookabaugh. He is one of the top Keller agents here in Midland, Texas. And if you're any familiar with the oil field, it's up and down. So Dale is very familiar with all kinds of different scenarios when it comes to home buying, home selling, whatever it might be. So today we're gonna kind of cover all that stuff. So glad that you're joining with us. Hey, if you're not a part of the Mafia, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Comment down below with your question when it comes to house buying or house selling. We'll definitely try to have Dale on again to answer some of those questions and hopefully answer your question. But anyways, we're so glad that you're a part of it. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into this. Let me go ahead and pull out some questions I had for Dale, and Dale will talk a little bit about himself, and then we'll kind of talk some questions. So Dale, kind of give us just a background. When did you start doing realty, and what got you into it? And what do you like about it?
I've been a realtor now for 9 years. Before that, I was a loan analyst for a local bank here. So looking at tax returns, financial statements, sitting at a desk all day long, and I couldn't stand it anymore. And I had a friend in college, and we always talked about real estate, and just I was always very interested in it all. And I figured, my ultimate goal is to be a real estate investor, so I might as well learn how to do all this and get paid for it at the same time. So yeah. I became a realtor, and been very blessed. I was able to join the Bill Lanier team, and he's one of the best realtors, especially in town or in the States, and just does business the right way. And he just took me under his wing, and everything I know is because of Bill.
Yeah, that's good. And we got to work with Bill when we sold our first house, and it was just a really smooth process. I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier, but yeah, Dale has helped us sell a home and buy a home. And the process went really well. Dale's very well respected around the area, so I'm really excited to kind of answer some of these questions. So these are questions I get from my actual clients, not just random ones I found. I've actually been asked these, so I thought it'd be a great idea to have Dale here to kind of answer some of these things. So the first question, and I get this one quite a bit, is how do you go about buying a home?
Yeah. Well, it can be it looks like a daunting process to begin with, but I would say usually what you need to do is make sure you're ready. So usually the first step is to talk to a mortgage company or reach out to a real estate agent that you trust, find a referral from someone, and they can walk you through the whole process. Usually that's the first step. Find a realtor you trust, and then start getting pre-approved if you need a mortgage. And from there, a realtor should be able to take you through what the rest of the steps are.
Yeah, I think that's really good, and I think that's something we really valued, because I know that a lot of people try to do things without a realtor, and if that's something that you feel like you're equipped for, then by all means do that. But I know that I have some serious limitations when it comes to stuff, whether it's time on learning how to do it or whether it's just wanting to learn it in general. I knew that's something that I didn't know and I wanted a specialist in, so that's obviously why we hired Dale. Believe it or not, little insert here, we met Dale actually through a small group. He was actually the very first small group we ever went to when we first moved to Midland. Weren't even really looking for a realtor. He just kind of was automatically in our circle and just didn't even question it. So, all right, Dale, so second question. When is a good time to buy a home?
The best time to buy a home is actually when you are ready to buy a home. Not whenever interest rates are super low or interest rates are at a certain level or what the market's doing.
Yeah, that's good.
What really matters is when you're ready, when you got the finances to do it, and when it's just that time of life to move up in house or to get your first house.
Yeah.
So don't succumb to the pressures of just
wanting a home.
buy a house just because you need to buy a house.
Or because your friends are buying a house.
That's right.
I know that was difficult for us because I managed to make friends with all engineers, and as you know, they make a little bit more than I was used to making, so they were able to do that kind of thing quicker than I was expecting. I was like, man, it's really easy to want to keep up with the Joneses.
Yep. And your patience is paid off each time.
Yeah, exactly. So no, that's good. Okay, so And we live in probably one of the most volatile industry areas in the whole world, where oil dictates, it feels like almost everything, where home prices can very much fluctuate based on the price of oil. So what do you tell your clients, that are worried that, they'll buy their house and then all of a sudden oil will drop and the price could potentially drop? What do you usually tell them in that scenario?
Well, that's definitely could definitely happen. I guess the one thing you can always go back to is real estate is a good long-term investment. So you got to hang on to it for a little while. Usually the rule of thumb is after 5 years, you can really start making money on the house. And not just necessarily because you got realtor fees and then you've had closing costs and there's just
termites, I found out.
Real estate just takes a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And so the quick turnaround, and also our market's been kind of crazy the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And you have been able to get away with maybe making a mistake in your house, but because the market appreciated, 6 or 10% that year, so you can turn around and, get out of it real easy. But it's a good long-term investment. Historically.
Yeah, and that's great, because that segues really well into the second question, and that is, what would your argument be for real estate being such a good investment?
Well, you can look at it. It's a good long-term investment because real estate usually appreciates in a normal market appreciates, 3 to 4% each year, and every time you make your mortgage payments, it's almost like a savings account too. So your net worth goes up.
Yep.
As long as your market's appreciating, your balance on your mortgage is going down, so the gap continues to grow.
Yeah, I think that's a great point too, because we talk about inflation on here sometimes too, because just throwing your cash into a savings account, even if that savings account has a decent return, like say it's a money market account, you're still probably not going to keep up with inflation that well. However, real estate, like what Dale was saying, in the way it appreciates, can keep up with and even surpass inflation rates, so that way you can watch your money grow while you sleep. So it does kind of also tie in with what we talk about here, and that is slow and steady is much better than trying to make a quick buck. Real estate's not really something that you want to really dabble in if you're looking to have a peaceful life and try to make a quick buck. Either usually long term is a good idea. So next question. What should someone be looking for in a house besides just the appearance?
Yeah, I think one of the most important features to look at is the floor plan. There's so many shows out there, and all you see is they're blowing out this wall and that wall. But floor plan, I think, is very important. And you can overlook bad paint or bad carpets.
Yep.
Those are relatively cheap things to do. Also, just make sure it's a neighborhood that you feel safe in. I often tell people, go drive by the house anywhere between 5:30 to 7 o'clock. And if there's people out walking their dogs and all that good stuff and jogging, or going early in the morning if you're a morning person, and just see what the neighborhood looks like after working hours. So neighborhood, floor plan, and overlook just the ugly stuff about a house.
And I think that's great, because we when we bought the house that we're in now, we bought for the neighborhood and not even really the house, even though we thought the house had a good floor plan and layout and had some decent size to it that we were looking for. But we loved how quiet it was. We loved the neighbors, that we already knew some people in the neighborhood. We were able to talk to them about the neighborhood. They loved the neighborhood and had been here a whole lot longer than us. So that was kind of a big selling point for us, was the neighborhood. We felt very fortunate that it kind of just fell in our lap. So, and this is the last question, and this one I think is really important, that I think a lot of you need to pay attention to, and that is, what is the biggest mistake that you see home buyers make?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is giving yourself enough time. When you are up against a lease, or you just got to go get something right now, time condenses your decision making. So don't make a decision, because we talked about it's a good long-term investment, so be sure you take your time and give yourself plenty of time to find the right house. Another mistake I think people is maybe not being financially ready to buy a home. People not putting down a bunch of money, or needing a bunch of closing costs paid. It just worries me to death that someone's gonna call me back a year later, like, Dale, I gotta sell my house, and then you're like, just
Yeah.
we
Yep.
we didn't do it right.
Yep.
And but you know, people are adults and they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah.
But that's what I see. The two big things I see.
Yeah, let your house be a blessing. Don't make it a burden, right? So you definitely want that to be a blessing for your family and your monthly expenses, and not a burden to your monthly expenses. Because if you're struggling to make that mortgage payment, that's a different kind of stress, because you get kicked out if you're not making that payment. And so and I've dealt with that. I've had clients who have faced that reality, and it is not a fun reality. So guys, I hope that was helpful to you. Dale, thanks so much for being a part of the video. Guys, if you have some more questions for Dale, we'd love to have him back at some point. We'll kind of go over some other questions that you might have for real estate, or buying your first home, buying your 10th home, or selling a home. We really kind of covered buying a home today, but if selling is something that you're also interested in, that's something we can do a video on. Love to have you guys. So thankful that you stopped by. Again, if you're not part of the Mafia, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and guys, we'll talk to you later. Peace.